welcome to this edition of Simsbury School News. My name is Dominique Avery. Today our focus is on how Simsbury High School students learn financial literacy and the extraordinary popularity of the high school chapter of the Future Business Leaders of America. With me today are Deborah Manning, a business teacher at the high school, who among other things teaches the financial literacy course, and I'm delighted that she is accompanied by two students. Joshua Hollis and Nikki Heller, both are seniors and belong to FBLA and the National Business Honor Society as well. Deb, I'm going to start with you. You teach that financial literacy course.
I do, yes.
And I just learned that it's required in Simsbury.
It is. We were very progressive in getting that going. We were one of the first in the state to have a required course for graduation. Right now, I know in the news, West Hartford students are petitioning as we speak to try to get a half-year course going. Right. So that's more typical in the state. We see the half-year. I think we're the only one with a quarter yet. But we definitely did start off with a very progressive start, yes.
So it's not required by the state, and the state's not well ranked. So how did this idea come about? Were you part of that?
Well, let me tell you, it actually was driven by a student who had graduated from Simsbury High School, and he had contacted Neil Sullivan, who was principal at the time, and he said, I had all these requirements that I needed to take as a high school student in Simsbury, but what about the financial literacy? How about teaching me about credit? And so it was at a time in our economy when it certainly made sense. In the business department, we'd been clamoring and trying to, get some interest in doing something. We already had a personal finance class. Patty D'Onofrio, one of my colleagues in the business department, was teaching that at the time, and we realized that this is something that we really did need to offer as a requirement to students. So it was really with Neil's help and initiative and student input as well that we were able to get that going. We also got a grant from the state of Connecticut to help with write that course curriculum. So.
Interesting. So what do you teach in financial literacy?
Well, I'll tell you, it goes at a rapid pace because we only have the one marking period to be able to accomplish a lot. I always start off the course with why, what is it that's probably going to be the biggest financial decision that these students are going to make to get them hooked in? And the students who take the course are juniors and seniors. And so we talk about their decision for college. So we actually, we step back a little bit, talk about what is it that you want to do when you leave Simsbury, what's your career choice, and so we have them research that a little bit, and we also do some work on so what kind of education would be required for that career. We go to the Occupational Outlook Handbook, we do a whole little project on that, and then we talk about the financing. This is what it's going to cost you, and so how are you going to fund it? We talk about FAFSA. We really get the kids into that. Some of the students, depending on when it is that this is scheduled in their course, if they're juniors, then of course they haven't gotten to this point yet, so they really get a heads up on what's necessary for them, what they have to actually do themselves in the senior year. Those of them in the seniors, they're saying, well, I've kind of done this. My parents helped me. I'm not really sure. So it really gets them starting to think about, the biggest financial decision that they're going to make right now. And we look at the student loans. We go through everything from the income that we start with to also we do tax returns with them. They'll do a 1040 EZ. They'll talk, we go through consumerism, topics with that. Credit is a big one. We do a lot with that, banking. And so we don't do a lot with investments. We don't have time for that, but we do as much as we can in the short period of time.
So simple things like, I don't even know whether young people know about checks. Do any of you?
Yes.
Yes. Do you do check writing?
Oh, absolutely.
And stuff like that?
We do that. We talk about how to write your name in cursive, and absolutely, yes, we go through that.
So was it helpful? I'm going to turn to both of you. Was it helpful?
So
did you know already?
It was super helpful.
Yeah.
I already took some foundation business classes, so I had a little bit of the background, but when it really went into in depth about college, how different loans work, what difference of a scholarship and a grant, things like that, that's really where I was learning a lot. But I didn't take the financial literacy, I took the personal finance, which fulfills the same credit, but it's the half-year form, which is similar to what West Hartford is petitioning to do. So that goes a little bit more in depth to stocks, bonds, how to make your money work for you.
Maybe I should take that course.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I should say that the students, they're required to take either the quarter credit course, or they can opt for the half-year personal finance that Josh took, or they can also take the AP Econ, and that will satisfy the requirement as well. So they do have options. But,
Nikki, how about
yeah.
for you?
I also took the half-year class, and I found it really helpful. I knew some of the information. I knew what types of things went into writing a check, but I find that people our age often don't know basic things that their parents didn't realize that they should know, and I found it very helpful for when I'm going to be independent next year at college and just in life beyond that.
So did the two of you end up filling out your own loan applications? Did you help your
I
parents?
did my own FAFSA,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was a big help on that part. But
Yeah.
so that class gave me the foundation for that. But I think it's really just the basic things, like the fact that a savings account doesn't give you 4% interest is something I wasn't really realizing until I took the class. Granted, I had money in a savings account, but I realized it wasn't doing all that much.
Well, it used to be.
Yeah.
Back in the
Used
day.
to be worth it. Back in the day, it used to be worth having. So just a quick aside, I'm assuming that both of you know where you're going to college next year?
Yes.
So where are you going?
I'm going to go to University of New Hampshire, the Paul College of Business and Economics.
Nikki?
I'll be studying at Gettysburg College, and I'm majoring in organization and management studies.
Interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about your future, but I want to go back to you. Just tell me a little bit more about what other business courses, as long as we're on that subject, whether business courses are offered at the high school, accounting, what?
Oh, yes, yeah. We have accounting. We have a full year course or a half year accelerated class. This year we have a full year accounting class in the second year as well. We have the personal finance. We have an entrepreneurship class, which is great, and we have junior achievement volunteers come in to work on that. The students actually start a business. We have marketing, and we have sports and entertainment marketing. Help me out. What else do we have? We have we have the banking and investment course, and then we also have typically freshmen, sophomores will take an intro to business and finance class, and that's really the first time that Simsbury students have an opportunity to take a business class. We are not part of the unified arts rotation at the middle school, unfortunately, so when they get to do the other elective areas to see how they like, the engineering program or tech ed or family consumer sciences, we're not part of that. So the intro to business and finance class, I think probably both, was that the first time that you had
Yeah,
the class?
I took it first semester freshman year, and that was the first elective that I had at Simsbury, and I knew that I wanted to do business. I've always been interested in business, and it was a great intro class. It really introduced business to me as a freshman, and that kind of spurred this business that I've been doing all of high school.
For me, freshman year, I was really into architecture, and I thought that's what I was going to progress and take a lot more classes in that. But with Mrs. D'Onofrio, I actually took the Intro to Business and Finance. I was also first semester, and freshman year, and I was like, whoa, this is what I want to do. And from then on, I took, I don't even know, probably 5 other business classes, 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you also, God, don't you have a lot of other requirements? How do you manage all that?
Well, I mean, they make it with the eight period day.
You've added a day,
it's,
right? Yeah.
It makes it pretty easy.
An hour,
Yeah,
rather.
yes.
Yeah.
These, you have pretty much 5 classes that are set, like your English, math, language, social science, and then after that you have a lot more exploration you can do. Usually 2 credits a year.
Okay, so I'm continually impressed by students nowadays. I'm a fairly old lady. When I was in high school, we didn't think about the future or what we wanted to do. There was no pressure on us to know yet. That didn't come till college. But you guys, I can't believe that you've been interested in business. Why? How did that come about? Did you feel like a lot of pressure from your parents, or was it just you?
Well, actually, my family owns a business, so I've grown up around it with my parents and my grandparents in it. So I always had heard about business, and I always thought that it was really interesting. And I think that it's something that you can do. It's a broad kind of thing that you can do, but then you can hone on one specific thing that you find fits you best. And I really liked that. And so in the middle school, I was disappointed that you can't take any business classes. So at the high school, I knew that I wanted to do business, and every class I took, I loved it more. Then I joined FBLA, became a member of National Business Honor Society, went to the competitions, and I've just become to love it. So.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn back to you. And so you've nicely given me a segue to the future business leaders of America. I heard from Neil Sullivan and from you that you have 143 members, and that members competed at the state level. So I think there are a lot of our people in our audience who've never heard of this. I want you to tell me what it is and why it's so popular.
Well, this is a national business organization that has over 250,000 members. It's in most high schools would have a local chapter, and so we have local officers. Josh is our president this year, and then we have a variety of things that we can do. Basically, what we're trying to do is supplement what's happening in our classroom and offer students, and it's not just for students who are taking a business class, it's open to anyone at the high school. So anyone who has an interest in business can come in and test us out and see what we're like and find some way to be, and I'm just going to go to our national publication and say we're going to connect, and that is our theme this year. And really what we do is we provide opportunities for students who like business to get together and connect and to find ways that they can contribute. Okay, we have a variety of things that we do. There's state programs, there's national programs that we can do to encourage student involvement. We have guest speakers that come in and talk to the students. We do a lot of initiatives. One big thing, particularly the Simsbury students like to do, is compete. And so we do have a state competition each year. So we would, the students can opt to take online tests if they'd like to do that, or they could do presentation events. And we've had great success with all of those. They go and they compete at the state level, and first, second, and third place students who win qualify to go on to the national conference. And every single year in my memory bank, we've always had students that will attend. And so that at that level, you've got 12,000 students that you're competing against. The competition is just incredible. And when we come home from someone who placed in the top 10, it's just an amazing feat for them. So it's an opportunity for students to demonstrate leadership and to get the skills that they need. And it's just a remarkable way for students to find others who are like-minded across the country to participate. So.
Okay, so what I'm going to turn to you. You've both competed. I think you've been successful. I think Nikki, you're going to something later on this year. I forget exactly what it was. Website design event.
Yeah,
or
the
something?
national competition in Atlanta for website design. At states, I competed in emerging business issues and placed third. But at nationals, I'll be competing in web design.
Okay, so I'm totally naive here. What does that mean, a competition? I know what it means, what an athletic competition is, but I have no idea what a business competition means. What do you have to make a speech, or do you have to make a presentation, or?
Well, it depends on the event. So for the web design event, you get a set of guidelines. And so, for example, you get a business that you have to create a website for. So this year it was a gluten-free bakery, and you have certain requirements you have to meet. You create a website on your own time. And then when you get to the competition, you have to present your website that you made beforehand and the presentation that you prepared in front of a panel of judges.
So it's sort of like a job interview.
Yes, similar to that, yes.
And do you show it? Do you have it up on the screen?
You display it on the screen, and then you're speaking in front of the judges with the members of your group.
Sort of a job interview one-on-one, or is there an audience? Or?
Well, some events are open, some are closed. The web design event was closed, so only the judges could watch you present. But some events like public speaking, I believe, are open to an audience.
When they get to national, they'll be open. Crowds of people. You are going to Atlanta.
Yes.
In June.
Yes.
And so what is that? I mean, where is that? And are you going by yourself? Your parents are going? Are you going?
You're going. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We're going. There's 14 students that are going to attend this year. So, yeah.
And last summer we went to Chicago.
Yeah.
Both Nikki and I were there, and both of us competed. Yeah.
So Nikki's a repeat attender of a national conference.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I'm so totally naive. I had no idea any of this stuff was going on. It sounds fascinating. So, tell me about projects that you've done.
So, with competing, or
Yeah.
So, last year with the president of last year, Eric Lepowski, him and I placed first in the state for Life Smarts, which is a common knowledge Jeopardy type game. So, it's environmental science, personal finance. What are the other?
There were some
Banking,
history questions.
banking, and
They had something
there's
on
some
the
history
Constitution.
ones.
There was law.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
a lot of different categories that are all brought into this one game.
So, is it like a Jeopardy panel?
It's like it's similar. They ask a question directed to either two teams or two people or whatnot, and you buzz in, answer the question, get the points. So him and I placed first in the state, and then I decided to go to Chicago, which is where nationals were last year. Eric couldn't go, so Michael Seaman subbed in for him, and we ended up placing second in the country. So
Wow.
that was a really awesome thing to happen to both of us.
So,
and-
like Jeopardy, did you have to put
It
things
was-
in the form of a question?
well, thankfully not, because yeah, but there were weird guidelines that we lost points on, such as like you had to say, they had to call on you before you answer. It wasn't just when you hit the buzzer. So yeah, but it was really
Wow,
really
that's
an awesome
impressive.
experience.
Yeah. So, is it at a conference center? How many students are there?
They're usually done at a conference center. About 13,000 students attend
Wow.
national conferences a year. So yeah, so like when you win and you stand on the stage, that's nerve-wracking.
It's like a political convention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like kind of equated to that. But
Yeah.
it's
There are a lot of people staring at you, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people everywhere, and it's really kids from every corner of the country. California and Georgia and like Alabama, they have really big FBLA programs, so you see a lot of kids from those states specifically. Connecticut's a little underrepresented.
with
but-
our 143, we'd be dwarfed in
Yeah.
some of the states.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have 500 members. In one chapter.
Some
high
of the
school.
states or some of the high
Some of the high schools.
schools?
Yeah, some of the high schools. Yeah.
Well, I guess
Very popular.
Simsbury High School is not that large a school compared to some schools in the
True.
country.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're recording this on a day of an FBLA meeting, and I read in the announcement online that students are going to learn about their leadership opportunities for next year and practice their Shark Tank skills. So I was interested in that. What does that mean?
So at last year at the national conference, I attended an event. It was called Institute for Leaders, and it was ran with Jason Lukash, who's an entrepreneur. He was actually on Shark Tank. So it was about 200 kids. We formed groups of 3 with people we never met before. Designed a brand new product. It was a complete prototype. It wasn't built off of anything, and we designed it, pitched it, and there was a panel of judges to see who was the best product. So we're kind of going to do a similar activity to that tonight. Students are going to form groups of 2, 3, 1 if they want, come up with an idea in 20 minutes and pitch it and see who's the best.
So we should have known about that. We should have had some kids filming it. It would have
Yeah.
been good to do it as a TV show. Next year when
Another
you do
time,
that,
right.
Yeah.
you get some people who can operate cameras, and we'll do it as a TV show next year. So, Nikki, why is FBLA so popular with students?
I think that students, a lot of students are interested in going into business, and I think that students sometimes aren't sure if they want to go into business, and I think joining a club is a really good way to get involved in something that's not like you're not going to be graded on it, you don't have homework, it's less stressful, and I think that a lot of people join FBLA with that mentality and then fall in love with business because there are so many opportunities. I've had so many public speaking opportunities and opportunities to create business plans and stuff like that sort of to introduce me into what I want to be doing with my future. And I think that students hear about it, hear their friends going away to national competitions, and they think that it's something they want to get involved in. And I think that's kind of what has drawn people into FBLA. That's what drew me in as an 8th grader, signing up to join the club. The students who were in it when I was in middle school loved it, they raved about it, and their opportunities that they had really inspired me to join it and to become involved with business in the high school.
So when I first heard about it, I sort of thought, well, it sounds like, a good thing on your resume, but it sounds like much more than that.
I think also, to add on to Nikki, another
Sure.
really good thing you get out of FBLA is the networking. It's not so much I'm meeting people that are going to give me a job, but I'm learning how to meet people. Just spending time with 143 people with the similar interests, similar career goals and college goals as you, and talking about those kind of things is really done a lot of great things for me. I've learned a lot from other people, but at the national conferences, you have business cards, you meet all these people that you've never met before, and build these really good relationships and find all these great connections. And even at our state conference, there was from a representative from a college in New York, Mercy College, who was not officially recruiting, but recruiting for a for a business honors program, which I ended up going down to the orientation for it to see what it's all about. I didn't end up going, but kind of opportunities like that I would never have unless I joined FBLA.
So does it sort of function? I mean, like I know there are athletes at school, there are theater people at school, there are people who are in the arts at school. Are there people from the arts who are in your group as well? Is it sort of across the board? Does it attract students from all over?
Well, last year the joke was our president, Eric, he took one business class, but he loved FBLA. So, I mean, I'm a different story. I've taken as many as I could, but really anyone, we stretch everywhere throughout the school, because business is the kind of thing that no matter what you go into, major in college, you're going to need those skills.
So you guys are not thinking of this as a way to get to earn more money when you're older. It sounds much more like experiential.
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, when I was in the national competition last year, we did the Shark Tank thing as well. My team, we got selected to present in front of 900 students. And I had to speak alone, standing on stage with a sign in front of 900 other kids my age. And that was nerve-wracking, and I was shaking beforehand. And then as soon as I started talking, the nerves went away. And that was one of the most valuable experiences that I've gotten from it, because even if I wasn't going to go into business, learning how to communicate and speak in front of people and be comfortable in front of an audience will apply to any career that I choose. So it's really definitely the opportunities.
Okay, so I'm going to give, we don't have that much time, I'm going to give each of you a chance to make a pitch to prospective students out there for why they should think about what kind of things will they do if they join FBLA next year.
All right. So if you join FBLA next year, you're bound to have many team working activities. We do a lot of things at our night meetings that are all in a group. It's very rarely do you sit there and listen to someone speak. If someone's speaking, it's because they're presenting an idea to you. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to attend a really awesome conference, potentially in the fall if you go on the path to be an officer, definitely in the spring if you choose to compete. And when you go to compete, odds are you're going to win because Simsbury does fantastic. So Simsbury does very well at all of our competitions. We pride ourselves in that, and we prepare very hard. Prepare a lot throughout the year, start in January for a test that you take in March. And if you go to nationals, there you go.
Nikki?
I agree with everything Josh said, but I think that all students should join FBLA no matter what you want to do, because every career takes parts of business, and even if you are planning on being a stay-at-home parent, for example, you need to know how to have the skills that we learn. You need to know how to talk in front of a group of people, meet new people, and if you want to be creative, if you want to come up with ideas with a group of friends and present them and talk to people, I think that joining FBLA is very important.
So we have about 30 seconds for you, Deb. Anything you want to add?
Well, if we have more people than the 143, I'm going to have to request a second advisor to help me out with this. But I do appreciate you having us on today. This has really been a great thing. Both these students are phenomenal, as are the other 141. I'm just so blessed to be able to work with them, and I appreciate the support.
Well,
of
I've
Simsbury
certainly learned a
Schools.
lot. Thanks for both of you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Thank
and
you.
we have run out of time. I'd like to thank everyone here at SCTV behind the scenes for their help in getting the show in the air as usual. And thanks especially to my guests, Deb Manning, Josh Hollis, and Nikki Heller. And finally, thank you for joining us. If you missed any part of the show, you can find it online at simsburytv.org. A reminder, all Board of Education meetings are live on SCTV on Comcast Channel 95 on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. And finally, we would love it if you would also like SCTV on Facebook. I'm Dominique Avery. See you next time for Simsbury School News. Since 1984, SCTV has been the place to turn in Simsbury to watch local government in action. But we're more than local government and school meetings. SCTV is the only place where you can check out all the candidates in local elections. We have high school sports and exercise classes. Other shows keep you up on health, finance, poetry, music, and Simsbury hot topics. Now we need your help. Simsbury Community TV is embarking on a major capital fundraising campaign to bring SCTV into the 21st century. We've received a generous grant from the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, but now we must match it. We want everyone to watch us on TV or on our website, but even if you never do, please help so that we can continue to keep your government open and you informed. Someday, when there's a crisis, you will want SCTV to be there.
Hi, my name is Lydia Tadone, a member of the Simsbury Board of Education. I hope you'll join me in supporting SCTV. Since 1984, your connection to your town, your schools, and your government.